that energy will be a ripple effect and it will knock on to other people to be nice and kind to us. Hello and welcome to this week's podcast. I'm Kelly Gill, the founder and creator of the Wedding Planning Collective, and I'm here to empower, inspire and support you to create your dream day your way, all whilst prioritising your mental health, your mindset and your well-being. So this week is week 2 of the Bridal Self-Love Journey, and I'm just going to quickly recap on week 1. If you haven't watched it, go and have a look now. And I just want to also touch upon why this series is important and why I embarked on it. So we're just going to touch upon week 1 and then I'll say why this journey is important. So week 1 was all about self-reflection. And I asked you 3 really big questions. And I must say the responses from these questions have been incredible. I've had several emails from brides that are very emotional and have touched me really deeply in how they have seen themselves and how they are answering these big, scary questions and wanting to be better before their wedding, which is great. This is the whole reason I'm doing this. But these big 3 questions, if you didn't know already, are 1, how are you feeling in this present moment? 2, do you have any worries, fears, or anxieties about your wedding or your wedding day? And 3, do I love myself unconditionally, flaws and all? That was the big question that 3 people that put a spanner in the works and got brides thinking. It is okay if you couldn't answer that. It's okay if you was confused by that question, because this self-love journey is all about reconnecting with ourselves. And maybe you've been lost for such a long time that you don't know really what you like. You don't really know who you are anymore. You're just on autopilot. And this is where the journey comes in. So I have put together for all you gorgeous brides out there a bridal self-love journey checklist. You can find this over at theweddingplanningcollective.com, or you can click the link on this video or over on Spotify. There should be a link. Click on that and you can sign up for it and go straight into your inbox. What this is going to do for you is give you all the major points for each week that we're doing this, and you can tick off and work along at your own pace. So if you're not doing this week by week, or you're just picking up on these as and when you can, you've got the checklist to also look over. So thank you to all of those brides that emailed me. I was very touched by your stories. And I also wanted to say something really personal about why this journey was created. So I have recently discovered that for nearly 40 years of my life, because I'm 40 this year, I know, I don't look it. I know, good genes. In December, I am 40, and I was reading The Goddess Path by Kirsty Gallagher, which is a recent book. It's just come out. And I was maybe two chapters in, and I had this stark realization. And this realization threw me. And it was the fact that for 40 years of my life, I never knew what self-love was. And it's been something that's been calling me for a very long time. And I have been doing like self-development steps. I have been feeling better about myself. I've been changing my subconscious and I've been working on my mindset. But the thing that I think was always lacking and always has been is never having real, true self-love for myself. I can give it to everybody else, and I find it really quite hard to receive it. And so I've been working through my own blocks, my own limiting beliefs, my own story to figure out why. Now, I've neglected myself, I've abused myself, I'm coming out of an eating disorder, I've been through like really bad relationships, I have been through a lot, and through it, I have treated myself like absolute rubbish. I've spoken to myself like I wouldn't speak to my worst enemy. I have not given myself an ounce of kindness. And so I knew that I'm not the only one who does this. I'm not the only one who picks myself apart, who puts myself down. And so for quite a while, I've been going through this self-development series to try and be kinder to myself. And so it is a process. You're not going to wake up one day and just magically love yourself. That would be nice to click your fingers and it happen, but we have to constantly work on this. So if you are somebody that is wanting to really know yourself, love yourself, understand yourself, then this is a great journey for you. And one magical piece that I really admire about myself is my self-awareness. I see my self-awareness as a superpower. Now, what I do with that self-awareness is kind of up to me. And if, I'm feeling kind to myself. But we look at self-awareness as, what can I do if I'm finding I'm repeating old patterns, if I'm being really harsh or hard on myself, how can I change the way I act, the way I am towards myself? Let's go on this journey and see what we can uncover and how we can feel at the end of it. So if you haven't managed to answer that big question on if you love yourself, unconditionally, flaws and all, it is okay. We will ask it again at the end of this series. So let's get into week 2. And this is all about acts of self-kindness. Last week was really heavy, and I understand that. So this week we're going a little more light. So I want you to ask yourself right now, when was the last time you did something kind for somebody? Maybe you're like, well, I've just made my colleague a cup of tea, or, I just brought my child that game they wanted. Whatever it may be, have a little think. When was the last time you were kind to somebody? Now, if you're coming up blank, it's probably because you're naturally kind to people. You don't keep a tally in your mind of how often you're kind to people, because, we don't do that. So if you're coming up blank, it's probably because you do it on the regular and there's no need to keep record. Or, in your head, you're like, well, it's something that I've done recently. So, I can say, oh, okay, I've done that. Twist that question and ask yourself, when was the last time I was kind to myself? What acts of self-kindness have you done to yourself recently? Again, you may be coming up blank. And if you're coming up blank, it's because we're not naturally connecting self-kindness with ourselves, not seeing kindness. We do kindness for other people. Sometimes it's hard to do it for us. I'm the same. So today we're looking at self-kindness. Every day on this journey, I want you to look at ways that you can be kind to yourself. Your acts of self-kindness could be actually physical acts. Maybe you are going to buy yourself a bunch of flowers. Maybe you're going to buy yourself a really lovely journal. You don't have to spend money, by the way. Those are just examples. Maybe you want to have 5, 10, 15 minutes every morning before the children wake up or you're the half wake up to yourself. Maybe before bed, you want to read 15, 20 minutes of a smutty novel, what floats your boat. But be really intentional on carving out time for you to be kind to you and fill your own cup up. Your self-kindness could be that you book that nail appointment that you've been putting off, or that hair appointment. Maybe the self-kindness thing is that you want to ring your best friend and you want to just check in and maybe book a girl's day. Maybe the self-kindness thing is to have the remote control from your other half. Because if it's anything like me, Gabriella gets the telly or Jacob gets the telly. I only get the telly when I'm on my own. Maybe that day you take control of the TV. I don't know. Whatever you want to see as self-kindness, do it to yourself. Wear that nice dress, wear the makeup, put some really nice perfume on. Whatever it is, be kind to you. Journal about it. Maybe you want to voice note it. Take selfies of yourself. Be kind to you. And also check in with, how is it making you feel? When you start feeling good and you start acting like kind towards yourself, the feelings echo out to other people. So naturally, if we are nice to ourselves and we are saying and feeling and doing good things to us, that energy will be a ripple effect and it will knock on to other people to be nice and kind to us. Everything is energy. So let's start filling our cup up and start doing things for us. Now, if you're struggling this week and you're like, well, I don't really know where to start, I want you to ask yourself two very important questions. I ask questions all the time, but these are really, really important questions. And I went through these questions with Jane Hughes on a past episode. And these two questions have helped me every single day since last year. And these two questions are, how am I feeling? And what do I need? Check in with yourself. How are you feeling? And what do I need? These have been really, really great questions for me every day, especially if I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, overstimulated. Even if I've been really, really tired, these have been really, really great questions to ask myself so I can kind of center myself, get a bit more clarity and see what I need. And then I start being kind to me. Because if we are, acting from an empty cup, we can't be ourselves. How can we give 100% of ourselves every day if there's not that in the tank? So ask yourself those questions, and then you can gauge what acts of self-kindness you can do for yourself that day. So maybe it is you just want 5 minutes with a cup of tea on your own. Maybe it is you do want to go for a walk, or you need a nap. Listen to yourself, listen to your body, and check in. It's a really simple one this week. Try and do 3 things every day that is an act of self-kindness. If you can't really figure out or gauge what it is that you need to do or want to do, ask yourself those 2 questions. How am I feeling? And what do I need? And then you should get an indication from yourself what it is that you can do for yourself to be kind to yourself that day. As ever, if you've got any questions, drop me a DM or email me at info@theweddingplanningcollective.com. You can head on over to theweddingplanningcollective.com for this week's blog. Oh my God, my brain. If you've been trying to get on my website, by the way, I had a little hiccup. I don't want to get into too much detail, but my website got overridden and it vanished. I know, my beautiful website that I worked so hard on, it's vanished. Luckily, the guys at FEA Create, who are a godsend, are trying to recover all of my pages so I don't have to rebuild them. And hopefully that should be done by the end of this week. Fingers crossed. Next week is a big week for us on this podcast. So it is week 3 of the Self-Love Journey, and it will all be about your self-talk. It's a big one. So for now, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I hope that you have a great week. Any questions, let me know.